The ANC's Regional Economic Committee is still meeting with under fire Mayor Mzwandile Masina. The meeting started at 3 o'clock this afternoon. The mayor threatened to resign after being reprimanded by the ANC over his apparent support for EFF leader Julius Malema's call to nationalize the commanding heights of the economy. Masina said the ANC was led by cowards whom he couldn't be part in an REC WhatsApp group. And we cross now to SABC political reporter Mzwandile Masina for the latest. Mzwandile?
Well, Tsepiso, indeed, the REC, the Regional Executive Committee of the ANC in Ekurhuleni, has rejected the resignation of the mayor and regional chairperson of the region, Mzwandile Masina, whom yesterday did say that after he was being reprimanded by the ANC on supporting EFF leader Julius Malema's comments on nationalizing the commanding heights of the economy, the REC today has rejected that resignation, where he said in an ANC REC WhatsApp group that he cannot be part of the cowards within the ANC who are in leadership, and that he would relinquish all positions of responsibility that has been given by the African National Congress, which would include the regional chairpersonship of Ekurhuleni and the mayorship of this particular metro municipality. But as it stands, the ANC, just like it happened in the Northwest Province when Supra Muamapilo had resigned as the premier, the PEC rejected his resignation. Those similar scenes have repeated themselves out here in Ekurhuleni. So these are some of the political imaginations that are going on within this particular metro, Tsepiso.
Let me just ask this question. Do we know if this is the end of the debate, of the argument? Because we understood that the Ekurhuleni Regional Executive Committee has rejected Masina's resignation.
Yes, indeed. Some of the reasons they are citing is that these are ongoing debates within the African National Congress. The mayor may have been wrong to air out his views in a public platform, but they are rejecting his resignation. These are some of the issues that can be debated internally within the governing party. But him resigning as the mayor of Ekurhuleni would bring about this disability within this particular municipality. It would not be stabilized, and there would be chaos and pandemonium, particularly politically in the political leadership within this particular metro, which the ANC governs through a coalition government with the likes of Patriotic Alliance and the African AIC. So these are some of the issues that were debated upon, and some of the views that the mayor strongly holds were ventilated as well within this particular meeting. The ANC taking a decision that he should not step down, and they're rejecting the resignation that he put forth to them in the REC meeting that was taking place from 3 o'clock this afternoon, which finished at about 10 minutes ago.
And I'm curious as to what your thoughts are, or what you're hearing, Mzwandile, about this. So this is the Ekurhuleni Regional Executive Committee. Would a different outcome really have been expected? And what does the ANC in Gauteng as a whole think about this matter?
In all honesty, Tsepiso, one would have been absurd to think that the ANC REC here in Ekurhuleni would have accepted Mayor Mzwandile Masina's resignation. As you'd know that when it comes to these political positions, it is not only Mzwandile Masina's fate that would be at his hands when it comes to the issue of his resignation. There would be those offsprings around him who benefit from this particular mayorship who would be affected by his resignation. There would be staff and those whom he's employed in his office whom would also be affected. There would not be any certainty that they would be retained when it comes to the issue of electing a new mayor. So the livelihoods of other people would have had a ripple effect should the mayor's resignation been accepted by the REC. Also, when it comes to the political going-ons within the governing party in Ekurhuleni, Mzwandile Masina's perceived faction is pretty much still in charge of this particular region alongside TK Ngiza, who's the regional secretary. So they're pretty much controlling the REC here, and the outcome that we have seen this particular evening of the REC not accepting his resignation was pretty much expected. When it comes to the ANC in Gauteng, their provincial secretary Jacob Kawe We've been trying to get a hold of him throughout the entire day. We've been waiting for the spokesperson also of the province, Bones Mudisa, to get back to us. They have not simply come back to us, and they've been very quiet on this particular issue. One would assume that they were waiting for the REC to conclude on their business, and then they would obviously pronounce themselves thereafter. But the ANC nationally, through its spokesperson Pulema Abe, has expressed themselves and issued out a statement yesterday reprimanding the mayor of his views, particularly when it comes to the nationalization of the commanding heights of the economy, and calling on the white monopoly capital economy to collapse, which is pretty much being pushed by the economic freedom fighters through its president Julius Malema and its secretary General Marshal Dlamini. So the EFF pretty much being in support of Mzwandile Masina. Julius Malema also saying that leaders of the ANC will not come and forth to back Mzwandile Masina. Instead, they will let him out to those who control the commanding heights of the economy. So these are some of the varying views that are there politically, but the ANC in the province, through its higher structures provincially and nationally, only the national leadership of the ANC has expressed themselves on the tweet of Mzwandile Masina, but not his intended resignation, which has now been declined by the ANC's Regional Executive Committee.
Now, we will speak to the party about this at a later stage, Samkelo, but we do know that this is not the first tour that Masina has been involved with, especially with senior leaders. Is there a view on whether or not he is being seen as divisive or merely an outspoken leader?
At this point in time, one could only assume that the ANC REC will come out in defense of their original chairperson and Mayor Mzwandile Masina. They may not delve much into his personal views on what he speaks about on social media, but we do know that in previous instances, the ANC, through its Secretary General and its spokesperson Pulema Abe, has spoken on this issue, and the ANC at some point wanted to push a social media policy on how their leaders must conduct themselves on social media, particularly after that spat which Mzwandile Masina was once again involved in with other ANC leaders, including the Premier of the province, David Makura, when the Minister of Finance, Tito Mboweni, was speaking about the e-toll saga in the province of Gauteng, saying that those who are using these particular services must pay. Those who use must pay. Those were some of the words that were used by the Minister of Finance, Tito Mboweni, just mistakenly for the on the issues of land, willing buyer, willing seller. That's where I'm mistaking it. But at this point in time, those were some of the issues that the ANC leaders were embroiled on. You've seen Mzwandile Masina also going on with other ANC leaders like Derek Honeycomb. So it's not only the issue of Mzwandile Masina speaking his personal views on social media that has gotten him into hot water. You've got the likes of Tito Mboweni, you've got the likes of Derek Honeycomb, who have also been rebuked by the ANC on speaking of their personal views. Tito Mboweni goes on further to when it was on government issues, on the issues of cigarettes and alcohol, which were banned by the COVID-19 Command Council led by President Cyril Ramaphosa. So ANC leaders are continuously being embroiled on issues of social media. It's only a matter of time before the ANC comes out and issues out a social media policy, whom they've been saying they are currently busy drafting.
A quick and final question, Samkele. It's that of the Health Minister visiting the Western Cape as the epicenter of COVID-19 and fractions, it would seem, political fissures. So do we know what the conversation was about unity, especially from a health department perspective in the Western Cape?
The Minister of Health, Zweli Mkhize, has effectively been pushing his work when it comes to the issue of COVID-19. He's at times pushed away the issues of political allegiance. You've seen the Democratic Alliance as an organization, as a political formation, has seemingly broken away from that unity that was shown by political parties when it comes to the issues and the bans on the sale of cigarettes, and they want the lockdown totally lifted. You've seen the mayors of the Democratic Alliance, particularly when you go to the city of Cape Town. There's been a call for the beaches to be opened. There's been calls. The Democratic Alliance is also thinking and persuading itself on whether they should go to the courts to get salons to be opened within the country. So the Democratic Alliance has pretty much broken that unity that was shown by political formations when it comes to the issues of dealing with COVID-19. So it's a matter of time before you see the differences when it comes to the issues of how this particular pandemic must be dealt with from a health perspective. But what is rather interesting is that When you look at the MEC of Health in the Western Cape, they refer to them as ministers. Noma French Mbombo, she's a medical practitioner by profession. Then you've got Dr. Zwelini Mkhize, who's a medical practitioner by profession. So they are bound to have some sort of unity amongst them, particularly when it comes to the issues of their health, particularly within the health profession. So those questions of disunity, they will always be there because they are operating in a political sphere, and when it's an unwritten or an unsaid thing, particularly this COVID-19 pandemic with its own internal researchers within organizations. Some organizations may have felt that this COVID-19 pandemic may have given President Cyril Ramaphosa or the ANC an upper hand or an edge over other political organizations.
Okay, Samkele, let's leave it there. Thank you very much, SABC political reporter Samkele Masina.